life. He's attracted by our bold steps. We all want the story, but so many of us stay held back and not taking a step. But we've got to be people, whether it's 13 teddy bears or it's a nation to be won. Neither is any more insignificant, but both of them, when we stand with others, attracts the attention of heaven. God makes a way on our behalf. Look at this. Yeah, come on, give it a great hand to the Lord today. 2 Kings 7 and verse 5. At dusk, they got up and they went, I'm reading my version again. They arose at twilight to go to the camp of the Arameans. When they came to the outskirts of the camp of the Arameans, behold, there was no one there. For the Lord had caused the army of the Arameans to hear the sound of chariots and sound of horses, and even the sound of a great army. So they said to one another, I just want to stop there, pause. Do you notice there wasn't a great army? It was the sound of a great army. Do you understand that God cared so much about 4 rejected people, 4 insignificant lepers, that he actually created a sound so loud that it sounded like an army. Now understand that the Arameans could have been as many as 100,000 people. So to have a big army that scared them, it must have been a very loud noise. God did that because they stepped out of their comfort zone. They got out of what, was awkward, and they walked into the desert. They're focusing on the enemy's camp, and it automated Jesus coming into the presence. Behold, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us. Therefore they arose and they fled in the twilight, and they left their tents and their horses and their donkeys, even the camp just as it was, and fled for their lives. When these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they entered one tent and they ate and drank, and they carried away from their silver, gold and clothes, and they went and hid them. And they returned and entered another tent and carried from there also, and they went and hid them also. So 2 things have taken place here. God is making a way. They're still walking. You've got to remember, they're still walking. When the sound of the army is coming, they would have been talking to each other. Have you ever been in a situation where you're starting to doubt? And they're talking, is God going to come through for us? Maybe we shouldn't have taken this step. Why did we do this? God, can you help? And there's problems in the way we've set things up. But we've got to remember that God is making a way where there is no way. So often in your situation, maybe there's a challenge in your marriage right now. I want to tell you, if you bring it before God and you start to pray and believe, I tell you, God is making a way where there is no way. Maybe your son, your daughter are away from the Lord. I want to remind you today that his promises are yes and amen. And as you believe and you put it before him, he's making a way over your situation. Maybe there's a financial challenge in your business today. Well, don't do it alone. Come together with your D group, come together with your satellite, and make a decision that you're going to bring it before God, because I tell you, he can make a way where there is no way over your circumstance. But you see, that's the first principle that we learn. He's doing something that they didn't necessarily deserve, but he chose to give them. God always will make a way. But the challenge for many of us is, as soon as we see a problem, we start operating in fear. But actually, we must remember that our trading tool is not fear, but it's faith. And so it's so important that we recognize that the enemy uses the counterfeit, which is fear. But we must not react, but we must respond by faith. Problems are more often than not in the kingdom just possibilities. Challenges are just opportunities for God to do something in and through you. So rather than see it as a problem, see it as a possibility. See what God can do in and through you. See how he can position you and how he can prepare you for what he has planned for your life.